All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about surface area from a net. This is a review from 7th grade. This is how you were taught surface area in 7th grade. So we're just going to review it today, and then later this week we'll use the surface area formulas that are on your formula chart. So before we get started, let's talk about a couple vocabulary words. So the first one is total surface area. And total surface area is the combined area of all the faces. Okay. And then lateral area is the area of the sides only. I like to remember lateral as faces, no bases. Okay, so when we look at our example, it says determine the name of the shape and use the net to calculate the area. So this is called a net, and that is like if we take a 3D figure and we unfold it and make it flat, it lays out into what's called a net. All right. So the first thing we need to do when we're finding our surface area is we need to determine what the shape name is. So when I look at this one, I see 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. So that is going to make this shape a triangular prism. And then it says it wants us to find the lateral surface area. So we said lateral surface area means sides only. Now the reason that we named our shape is because the first name of our 3D figure tells us what our base is. So since this is called a triangular prism, the triangles are my bases. Okay? But it says it wants us to find the lateral surface area. So I only need the sides. So if my triangles are my bases, then I need to find the area of the 3 rectangles. Okay? So I have my formula chart, and it says area of a rectangle is A equals BH. So if I look at this top rectangle, if I folded this up, this side on the triangle would line up here. So that makes this side 8. This side is 12, and this is a rectangle. Then this one is also 12. This one is also 12. And this one is also 12. All right. So for this top rectangle, I'm going to label it rectangle 1. If I'm doing area equals base times height, then I'm going to do A equals 8 times 12. All right. So when I type that into my calculator, 8 times 12, that gives me 96. Okay. Now, if I do the middle rectangle, number 2, it is still a rectangle. So I'm still going to be using A equals BH. But this time, I'm going to be using 10 and 12. So 10 times 12, and that's going to give me 120. And if I look at my third rectangle, when I fold it up, that gives me 8 and 12. We've already done that. So number 1 and number 3 are going to be 96. So when I add up all the sides, I'm adding up number 1, which is 96, plus number 2, which is 120, plus number 3, which was 96. So 96 plus 120 plus 96 gives me 312. So my lateral surface area, just these rectangles, is 312. These are centimeters, and area is always squared. Okay. So now I'm going to move on to number 2. So number 2 is a net of a cylinder. And this one says it wants me to find the total surface area. So that means all of the faces need to be found. So I see a circle, a rectangle, and a circle. So my area of a circle formula, area circle pi r squared. And then I have my rectangle, which is area equals base times height. So I'm going to do my circle first. So pi times my radius is 4.4 squared. So pi times 4.4 squared. That's going to give me 60.821. When I round that, I'm going to the hundredths place. So the 1 tells me to stay the same. So 60.82. That's my circles. Now for my rectangle. When I look at my rectangle, I only have one dimension, and that's right here. So in order to get my long side, my length, what I need to do, if I close this shape up, I would notice that the around of a circle, all the way around of a circle, would roll up to my length. Now, the distance around a circle is called our circumference. So we need to find our circumference on this one to get our length of our rectangle. So I'm going to write circumference equals 2 pi r. So 2 times pi times 4.4. This will give me how long my rectangle is. So 2 pi 4.4. 27.646. So if I round this, that 6 tells me to round up. So 27.65. So that is my length on my rectangle. So now I can do my base times my height for my rectangle. So I'm going to do 7.2 times 27.65. And that would give me 199.08. Okay, so for my total surface area, my area of this circle is 60.82. My rectangle is 199.08. And my circle we found was 60.82. So those three numbers is what I'm going to add up to get my total surface area. 60.82 plus 199.08 plus 60.82. 60.82 plus 199.08 plus 60.82. So that's going to give me 320 and 72 hundredths as my total surface area. And these are also centimeters, and area is always squared. Okay. On the back, I only see rectangles, so this is going to be a rectangular prism. Now, something that we need to remember on a rectangular prism, this rectangle is congruent to this rectangle, so they're going to have the same area. When I fold it, this top rectangle is going to be congruent to this middle rectangle. And then my other two rectangles will be congruent to each other. So yes, there's 6 rectangles here, but I only need to find the area of 3 rectangles. Okay, so my orange rectangle is going to be area equals base times height. And on my orange, I have 5 times 3.1. Okay. On my yellow rectangle, that's going to be area equals base times height, or 7.4 times 3.1. And then I have my green, which, okay, so if this is a rectangle, 7.4, this is also going to be 7.4. And if this is 5, then that side will be 5. So area equals base times height. So 5 times 7.4. And this one is asking us for the total surface area. So I'm going to need to add up these 6 sides. So I have 2 oranges, so 15.5 plus 15.5. I have 2 yellows, so 22.94 twice. And I have 2 greens, which was 37. And I'm going to add all of that up to get my total surface area. So I should get 150.88, and these are centimeters squared. Make sure that's a 2. All right, last shape. I have a cylinder. And on a cylinder, if I'm finding my lateral surface area, I only want to find the rectangle. So just like on number 2, I need to find my circumference. So circumference equals pi times diameter. So pi times 17. That gives me 53.41. So this is 53.41. So to find my lateral surface area, I'm going to do A equals BH. So 9 times 53.41. 9 times 53.41. And that'll give me 480.69.